The National Assembly formally declined Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan's request to resume her legislative duties in the Senate despite the expiration of her 6-month suspension on September 4, 2025. The country's apex legislative institution cited a pending appeal at the Court of Appeal as a primary obstacle. Akpoti-Uduaghan, who represents Kogi Central Senatorial District, was suspended by the Senate on March 6, 2025 over allegations of misconduct. Strongly disagreeing with the Senate leadership, People's Democratic Party condemned the attempt by the Clerk of the National Assembly to bar Akpoti-Uduaghan from resuming at the Senate after the 6-month suspension imposed on her by Senate President Senator Godswill Akpabio expired. The acting clerk further assured the senator that she would be duly notified of the Senate's decision once the legal issues were resolved. Joining us on the show to discuss National Assembly's stance on Senator Uduaghan's resumption is Ibrahim Wali, a lawyer. Good morning, Mr. Wali, and welcome to the morning show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me once more. This is imperative that the constitutional layers underpinning this issue are actually severed this morning, so I'm very glad to be here.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Wali. Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan.
Yes, sir, Mr. Ruben.
Morning. Was suspended, I think, March 6. Now, by September 3, September 4, she has completed 6 months. But the clerk of the National Assembly issued a statement, or was quoted, as saying that, look, there are matters still pending before the Court of Appeal. And that because there are issues relating to our suspension that have not been resolved by the Court of Appeal, it will be wrong for the National Assembly to take any step because the matter will then be deemed to be contemptuous, will be sub judice. Now, second, the National Assembly is even in recess. Hello? The National Assembly is on recess. They are not coming back until September 23. 3 issues. Yes, the 6 months we seem to have passed. The Senate is on recess. They're coming back September 23. Now, but the clerk of the National Assembly is saying that, look, there are matters in court. Now, what do you do with that? If that is the issue, and you say the matter is sub judice, now, who went on appeal? If it is Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan who went on appeal, she can withdraw the case. If it is the Senate President, he can withdraw the case so that they can find accommodation and move beyond this matter. In the light of Justice Binta Nyako's statement, that the Senate also has a responsibility to go and look at his rules and his guidelines. When you suspend somebody for over 180 days, you have robbed the constituents of their right of representation. However, when Justice Nyako spoke along those lines, we said she spoke obiter. It was advisory. It was not the main substance that she was dealing with. But it was a very wise advice. Yeah. If they want to resolve the matter, they can take that advice, they can withdraw the cases, and then we move on beyond this.
But they won't, because ego is involved.
Anyway, Mr. Ibrahim Wali is here with us now. I don't know whether you had some of the comments I made while waiting for you to gain audio connection with us. So we just come back to you. I don't need to repeat what I've already said.
Yes, I've heard some of the comments you've made, and I think I can make sense of it.
Please go ahead. Yeah.
If I may proceed. Thank you. So I'll begin from your last statement that the constituents, that is the Kogi Central Senatorial Central District, are robbed off of representation. And in fact, if you look at all the actors and actions in this saga so far, what is clear is that the Constitution, being the supreme document in the land, as provided for obviously by Section 1 in the Constitution itself, has been so sidelined and in the interpretation of what position should prevail. The fact that a senatorial district is going to lose representation for that long is supposed to be the fundamental issue that all parties, including the National Assembly, the senator herself, ourselves, the public, and also the judiciary itself, to see that all decisions and all actions, and this is what the law provides for anyway, all decisions or all actions are subject to the Constitution. So it is the constitutional provision that should prevail, or the democratic provision that should prevail. If you look at Section 13 of the Constitution, it is clear that all institutions, the State House of Assembly, the National Assembly, the judiciary itself, the executive, are supposed to give life to the Constitution, are supposed to uphold the Constitution. So what is happening so far in terms of the lack of representation of the Kogi constituents is by far the most damning aspect of this case. Now, back to the more specific questions you asked. It is very important to contextualize the power of the Clerk of the National Assembly, or rather the Clerk of the Senate. If you look at the standing order of the Senate that was amended in 2023, it is clear that his role is limited to taking records, communicating orders, minutes, votes, and proceedings. So for the clerk to come out and claim that he was informed without any attachment of a vote or proceedings by either the Senate leadership or the Senate as a house is already legally defective. So the letter as it is unfortunately incomplete, because it does not communicate its authority, and the clerk does not have the authority to take that position. It is also interesting to note that the clerk is also a party in the case anyway. So there need to be a vote or proceedings, and this is what the court has held. It says that it is the minutes and the votes and the proceedings of the legislature that they are going to use in examining whether the exercise of their power has been in line with the Constitution. What people really miss is that the legislature, as an independent arm, has powers to make laws and also to oversee the judiciary and the executive. But in the exercise of that power, by Section 4, subsection 8, they are subject to the courts. So they don't have the parliamentary absolutism that the Senate has been parading all this while. Yes, it is an independent arm, but in the exercise of its power itself, it has to be within constitutional parameters. So even when it comes to their standing orders by Section 60, the Senate cannot go ahead and make a standing order that seeks to undermine the court or undermines the Constitution, as much as it has the power and the right to make its standing orders. Okay. So far, if you look at what has happened, the suspension ab initio is unconstitutional. It's not just unconstitutional. The reality is even the standing order only provides for a maximum of 14 days.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So there's no justification whatsoever for a resumption to be denied.
From your analysis, no justification. It's unconstitutional, the stance of the Senate. What legal options are available to Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan? Because like you mentioned, the powers of the Senate is not absolute. They are also subject to the courts. What options are available to her? Yes, and also the people of the Kogi Central Senatorial District.
So the reality is, ever since this case has begun, the burden or the onus has been pushed on the senator herself. But this is a constitutional issue that bothers you and I, that bothers the president, and senators, or the Ministry of Justice, all lawyers, civil society organizations, because this is a constitutional infraction. What is she supposed to do? She's supposed to just continue with her work, but obviously we know that is not going to happen, because she's not going to bully her way into the system. But even if they claim that the judgment of the trial court is the status quo, then what is the status quo? If you say that the resolution is binding, that the Senate said, okay, their resolution is binding, the suspension is binding, and they have the presumption of regularity, because if an institution carries out an act, there is a presumption that the act is regular. So if we even go by that, then the resolution should take effect, and the effect is that in the 6th month it expires. So the Senate just ought to allow her to resume. This debacle, in fact, by my own understanding, it is the communication of the clerk himself that is actually creating this impasse. That is the sub judice. He is the one who has actually trespassed the sub judice threshold. He is the one who is now opening up all these issues. She ought to just resume, and the matter is going to continue, because it has to do with the legality. Ruben asked a question about who appealed. Senator Natasha appealed, yes, but her appeal are basically on 2 grounds. The contempt proceedings, where it was held that she made a social media post, and and the court said she should pay 5 million naira, and the fact that the court held that the preliminary objection of the respondents succeeded in part. She's not making any appeal with regards to the suspension itself or with regards to whether she should resume or not. It is a matter of course. Her resumption is a matter of course. Justice Binta Nyako has already said that it overreaches the Constitution. She doesn't have to give any consequential order. Immediately an action or a decision overreaches the Constitution, it becomes void ab initio. She should have resumed by then. Okay. So if they are claiming that, if they are claiming, just this one point, please. Okay. If they are claiming that the appeal itself should, if they are claiming that the appeal should serve as a stay of execution, then the question is, what execution of what? So it means that the judgment is in our favor. But if they want a stay of execution, then they should apply to the court. The stay of execution is not granted automatically. You must apply, you must show cause why the court would stay execution. So if they are arguing for stay of execution, then it means that the status quo as it is that Senator Natasha, which it should be in the National Assembly.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wali. Thank you for your take and just breaking down the matter for us this morning. Thank you.